and Michelle on Dripping Springs, hosted by me, Michelle Lewis, and Steve Mallett, who has mastered the art of the Irish goodbye. And I also think you invented the Irish hello.
First of all, what is the Irish goodbye?
Where you just GTFO. Like I
have mastered that.
You're sitting there and all of a sudden you're like, where's Steve?
That's true. It looks like I'm just getting up to go to the restroom, but I just never come back.
Never. Well, but do you know what the Irish hello is?
What's the Irish hello?
You don't even show up in the beginning.
That is me. And Michelle Lewis, who once walked a mile through the snow and ice uphill both ways to stage a house during Snowmageddon.
That's totally true. Totally true.
I know. I saw the video because you wouldn't do it without a video to prove that you had actually done it.
I should have gotten hazard pay for that. I actually told the clients, I texted them on the way there that they better had hot chocolate for me stat.
Did they do it?
They did. Oh, that totally reminded me. I have such a good story I wanted to tell you today, but I had to wait till we were on the podcast because I didn't want to ruin it.
Okay. Well, first I want to let everybody know we're going to have a guest coming in at the end of the show. Johnny Elrod, who's a local musician and owner of Barton Creek AC, is going to join us here
Speaking
in a little
of,
bit.
who needs to lay off the coffee?
That guy's going a million miles an hour.
He's going everywhere.
Can't wait for him to come
everywhere. Okay, you
so
want to hear?
Sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, no. I got to tell you this story. Just popped in my head.
Okay.
I was so excited to tell you. Okay, so I went to Dunkin' Donuts this morning, not because I was going to get a donut. Okay. I was like, I could have a donut or I could have coffee because it was 30-something degrees this morning.
It was very cold.
Go through the drive-through. I order my little, I don't even know what it was because I don't order coffee. So it took me a while to figure out what I was going to order. I ordered it, get up to the line, and I was in there for 5 minutes. I don't know if they were being held at gunpoint because it was just coffee and there was nobody in line in front of me. Anyways, they came up and they said, why don't you pull up forward? And we'll get back with you. I was like, it's just coffee.
It's just coffee.
5 minutes later, they come out with my coffee. It's cold, right? It's cold.
Like it's supposed to be cold?
No,
it's
hot. I ordered hot coffee on my
receipt.
receipt. It says hot coffee.
Okay.
So I was like, oh. So I drove all the way back around and I was greeted with, did you order a dozen donuts? And I was thinking, but I didn't. No, Jesus said no. Don't say that. I said no. I ordered the coffee. What kind of? It was just real snarky. What type of coffee did you order? And I don't order coffee. And I was like, oh, some caramel something or another. And so I went to hand her my coffee cup, and she goes, oh no, I can't take that back from you. You can get out of your car and go throw it in the trash can. And I said, I'm in the drive-through because it's 30-something degrees. No. And so I go to hand my coffee and she's like, ma'am. And I stuck it in the drive-through window and I just stood there and she goes, you need to pull up, wait for my coffee. 10 minutes pass by. They never bring me another coffee. So I'm the new owner of Dunkin' Donuts Dripping Springs because I wrote it.
Well, first of all, you need to have a talk with your employees about better customer
That's right.
service.
I was like, I never have coffee.
You know what? I know a lot of people go through there and love that place, though. So it's
you know what?
It's not like that all the time.
I know it was just a bad day, and it was just a bad day.
I think it's because it was 24 degrees this morning when I got up and ran, and people were not happy.
Don't give Michelle the snark. Michelle did not like the snark.
No, you do not like the snark.
Todd said, did you go inside? I said, no, I did not want to go. I did not want to be a TikTok star.
Yeah.
So I didn't. Hey, Steve, I have a question. Speaking of kind of uncomfortable situations.
Yes.
Have you ever had to fire a friend? Not like I'm asking you, hey, I'm your friend. Can you fire me?
Fire me?
Yeah. I know. I'm just saying, in your circle, whether it was from your high school or your formative years, your adult years, have you ever had to say, you know what, this person, I have to let go?
I'd have to think about that. I don't remember a specific instance in recent times where I've fired a friend, but I did in high school. I had a friend that was a mooch.
Oh,
the one where you go get a pizza with a couple friends, and all of a sudden he would show up and grab 3 slices
and forgot his wallet.
Yeah, and he never had any money. And I don't even remember that guy's name, but he got really hard to be
Let's
around.
put him on blast right now. You owe Steve a large pizza.
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah, but the friends I have now are really close, and I'd have to screw up really bad for me to not be friends with them anymore. I
feel like I'm at the age right now, and we have a lot of female listeners, is that there's a poem about friends for seasons. There's like 3 types of friends in your life. There's a friend for a season, friends for a reason, and friends for a lifetime. And that really kind of speaks to me, where I've had my mom friends, I've had my married friends, friends I've had since high school or 4th grade or, whatever. But, just recently I feel like a friend of mine that I've had for, almost 3 decades is just kind of ghosting me. And I've kind of had to step back and say, what is going on in her life,
Sure.
with her mom or her kids. And we're not necessarily on the same path that we used to be. And so I kind of thought about, it's like, is this the friend I want to fire, or is this the friend I want to give grace? And so I'm in the grace period right now, but it brought me to, have we ever had to fire a client? And I know we have, and that's uncomfortable.
I've had to fire, I wouldn't say a lot, but a number of clients over the years. But sometimes, friendships, you don't have to fire them. They just dissolve. Like you said, seasons. Like I had friends when I was coaching kids in soccer, I made friends, and then, kids, they move away or whatever. And you just, the friendships dissolve. But I have had to fire clients, and one that has stuck with me for a long time was a house here in Dripping Springs, and we listed it and we put it under contract, and it was inspected, and some weird little electrical problems. I can't give too much information, but some weird little electrical problems came out in the house. And I asked the seller about it, and he said, well, the house was struck by lightning and there was a fire over in this corner of the garage. And so that's why all the electrics are all messed up. And I said, well, we need to disclose that. And he said, well, if you disclose that, I will fire you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
you're going to fire me.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute,
and I
buddy.
said, well, let me save you the trouble, because if you're going to do something illegal and dishonest, then I'm not your realtor. And so the contract fell apart, and he fired me. I quit, but the contract fell apart. So if the contract would have closed, I still would have been paid on it. But I just, if you're dishonest, that's it. That's the line for me. And as far as our business, I won't
around and find out, buddy.
Yeah. Right.
I saw this quote. I was thinking about it, and like when this is a woman thing, when you're going through something and you kind of look through motivational quotes and you put these passive aggressive shit up on Instagram. Yeah. So one of them was, I found sometimes our stop doing list needs to be bigger than our to-do list. And I was like, ooh,
that's a good one.
Deep Thoughts by Michelle Lewis.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
What's on your stop doing list?
I don't know. I do what I want.
You do. Nobody tells you what to do.
They do, but do I listen? I listen on my own time, but I try. I try.
List.
If I really had to think about it, I would. There's a lot of things I have stopped doing, and that's kind of one of the things I've thought about while my kids have grown up. Like I tell Kendall, she's about to go into a new marriage. Both my boys are newly married. And it's like, boy, the things I used to get pissed off about when I was newly married. Now it's like,
it's so true, isn't it?
Man, it doesn't, like, why would I put myself through that torture?
It's so true. Like you fight for 3 days about some stupid little thing that happens now. And you're like, yeah, I don't care.
What? Yeah, exactly.
I don't care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of fighting, part of the Dripping Springs tea that I saw this past week was somebody on one of the garage sale pages or whatever. I don't know exactly which one it was. He was selling a couch from Restoration Hardware that he said was worth $23,000. And he was selling couch.
COUCH couch, $23,000.
Yeah, but he was selling it used, Steve, for $10,000.
Oh my gosh.
But bless him. Go sell your stuff. But the comments were gold. And one of them was, does it have bedazzled buttons? Are there gold cushions? This one was my favorite. Queen Elizabeth called. She wants her couch back. But through all of that, the other one was $800 cash, no questions asked. But I think his response was perfect. He responded to a lot of them. But one of the things he said was, "This couch is not for the Ashley furniture crowd."
Ooh,
oh damn!
burn.
People read the room.
Yeah,
read the room. But I thought it was pretty funny.
I'm not sure that $10,000 couches belong on Dripping Springs.
I want to
garage
sit on
sale.
a $10,000 couch.
Yeah,
like,
is it 10 times better than $1,000 couch?
I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
is a cup of noodle, 89-cent cup of noodle, better than a $12 ramen noodle bowl? That depends on how
Maybe not.
hungry
I
you
don't
are.
know. Yeah, I don't know. You know, I get the Wall Street Journal, which you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're my grandfather.
He
died 30 years ago.
Shush. But they have, in the weekend section, they do this review thing, and they do clothing and, shirts and shoes and stuff. And like every once in a while, they'll have like hot new men's swim trunks. Yeah. Or I'm just giving you an example, or like casual women's shoes. But,
what is your search history?
Shush.
Hot new men's.
Shush. So,
Okay, go. And women's shoes.
But the point, I'm making a point. Sometimes they'll have like 5 men's swimsuits, and they're all like these real high end designer suits, and they'll be like $1,200, $900, $1,100 for a swimsuit. And I'm like, who buys this stuff? And I just realized as you were telling that story, it's the guy with the $23,000 couch.
So are you looking for hot men's swimsuits and
Shush.
high-end women's shoes at the same time? Or is it
I need to go delete my browser history.
Is it a bundle that you get? Yeah, that's pretty funny. Hey, one of the other things I've heard some chatter about is coyotes have been spotted in my neighborhood in High Point.
In High Point.
Yeah, I'm sure that I'm wondering, is it the weather, or is that what it is, or is it the building? I mean,
so you might have heard I moved here from California.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But when we lived, the house we lived in backed up to about probably 20-acre field. And almost every night we would hear coyotes back there. And it's actually, when you hear them catching something, it's actually scary. It's like, because you'll hear like 8 of them yapping and then some animal screaming for its life, and it's until it's gone. But I think what a lot of people don't know about coyotes is, and you probably see it on some of these Facebook comments, they think we built houses in the areas where they want to live. They don't want to live out way away from everything. All the food is right around here. This is where all the animals come because there's so much stuff to eat. So,
we had a naughty raccoon one time that kept coming up on our back
raccoons
patio.
are going to be where people are.
That sneaky little snake was on our back patio looking at me. I was banging on the window like, go away, go away, go away. Looking at me one by one, grabbing a piece of dog food, looking me in the eye and just munching on it.
Yeah.
And Todd was like, that's it. I'm going to trap it. I'm going to shoot it. I'm going to whatever. I'm going to do whatever. I was like, no, it's one of God's creatures. And then next thing you saw was this other little baby raccoon pop his little head out. I was like, you see? So he trapped him and put him out at your house. Where
Actually, I had one on my back porch once, and I went out there to go scare it away, and I opened the door and I went, yeah, and it came right at me. I slammed the door in its face, and it stood there looking at me all pissed off.
Come on, Steve.
Yeah. I was like, go away, go away.
He's like the raccoon on Galaxy, or Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Did you hear about the guest house thing that was proposed at
I heard a little bit about it. Tell me about that.
Somebody was, some of the lots here in Dripping Springs are, fairly good size, half-acre minimums, an acre, some are 2 acres. And people are trying now to, without subdividing them, so you have like maybe an acre and a half, build 2 full-size houses on them.
So subdividing means like I'm taking my survey and I'm now dividing it into
so
two
you would
independent
have 2
properties.
separate properties. You could build a house on each one and then sell them individually. Well, these folks would have 1 lot with 2 full-size houses.
Aren't they doing that in Austin?
Well, they are. In Austin, it's called, they're called ADUs. I guess it could be an ADU here, but there's some minimums. These people are talking about like 2 2,500 square foot houses. In Austin, the biggest you can build. So you have a small lot with a house on the front. You can build an ADU in the back, but it can't be more than 1,000 square feet.
But Austin's doing that right so they can get more property taxes, right? And
they wouldn't admit that. It's more to do with they're trying to figure out how to get more people to live in a smaller area without increasing the
The footprint.
The footprint, yeah. Without having to go out further, you just put more houses in a small area.
And in Austin, I don't know, like if you put a guest house, could you get your own mortgage on that guest house, or now are you on that? That's probably one of our mortgage
the
guys.
mortgage would be on the whole property.
On the whole property, you couldn't just
separated.
get one like mortgage. So if Meemaw's moving in with me building, and I could see that, I think a lot more and more people are building homes for aging grandparents, or because it's getting expensive here in Dripping Springs.
I don't think the city council minds somebody building 1,000 square foot guest
but
house.
But not a full
Because if you think
size.
about, say you have a neighborhood of 25 1-acre lots, and it's a beautiful neighborhood, and there's kids riding their bikes up and down the street. All of a sudden, there's 50 houses in the same area where there used to be 25. It changes the character. I think that's the city council's concern.
That makes sense to me.
It changes the character of our community.
Yeah, and then I guess you also have to consider, right, the water situation or the septic and parking.
Mm-hmm.
If the road was only built to hold
exactly
3-bedroom, 2-bath house.
Yeah, and traffic's already bad. So
that's interesting. Interesting.
Anyway. Well, you've known Johnny for quite a while, huh? He's going to come in and talk to us in a minute.
I have. He has babied our AC unit for a long time. And even during Snowmageddon, he called us and checked on us, made sure that we had heat. He's good as gold. Him and Eddie.
He really is.
Eddie is the other owner of Barton Creek AC.
And Johnny's also a musician, and we're going to talk to him about that, about the Dripping Springs music scene. So we're going to take a little break, and when we come back, Johnny Elrod is going to join us. So we'll talk to you in a sec.
This show is brought to you in part by the Mallett Integrity Team, serving Dripping Springs, Austin, and the surrounding areas of Central Texas since 2004. When you need the best real estate advice and service, give them a call at 512-829-2062 or email them at mallettintegrityteam.com.
Well, we're here with Johnny Elrod, who's a local Dripping Springs musician, but mostly known as one of the co-owners along with Eddie Quine of Barton Creek AC. And we're going to talk about music and your business. And how's it going, Johnny?
It's going great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're glad you're here.
This is part of his parole condition. He has to come on the podcast.
Yeah, it's court ordered.
Community service.
You poor guy.
Let's get this over with.
You poor guy. You wouldn't do well in prison.
Probably not.
You're too pretty.
I'm small. I fit in attics very well. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about music first. So,
okay.
You just recently played at, was it Hudson's?
Yes, Friday we played over at Hudson's on Mercer Street. That's one of the better venues around the area. Good friends with Chad and Natasha Hudson. Shout out. They actually have a music school in the very back of that place, and I teach drum lessons on Tuesdays over there. And
2 6-year-olds?
No, it is
to 30-year-old women.
They range. I think my youngest is 8 and my oldest is 18. So there is quite a range. I have 6 students, and I really do enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of like my way of giving back to the community.
That's completely cool.
But also the average mentality age is you, about 12.
Exactly.
So it kind of fits.
I can
right
relate up and down unilaterally.
Yeah. Yeah, I had never been to Hudson's on Mercer until our DSE Christmas party.
Oh, okay.
The Dripping Springs Elite Real Estate Professionals Christmas party, which you were one of our original advertisers.
Yeah, actually, in a funny story, I could tie both HVAC and music together. We started the company in 2015, and we're kind of just taking off. And I met Chad's parents, Bodie and Artie Hudson. And I was doing a call for them, and they said that they were building a music school on Mercer Street in 2015. And this, I think we started that job in October, and they were looking for bids for AC contractors. And I was like, wow, this is right up my alley. So I went over there and I introduced myself to Natasha and Chad and gave them a bid and actually got the work. So when you go in there, you look at the ductwork and everything. That's Barton Creek Air Conditioning.
Aww.
That was you.
Mm-hmm.
You were crawling around up in there?
We did it. So, and it's such an old building. I'm not sure what the age of it is, but we had to notch out some of the trusses to get that square duct in there. And we wanted to make a really good impression on our work and stuff because we knew a lot of people were going to go in there. And so don't criticize it too hard. But it broke my heart to put those notches in some of those trusses.
Well, that building's one of the oldest buildings on Mercer
It is,
Street.
right?
Yeah,
It used to be an old feed store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And everything else, and they just did such a good job on it. So it's a great place to get craft beer. Great venue. They have a lot of their students do recitals and stuff, so it's very community oriented. And of course, the music school, and the students range from all ages, and so it's pretty good for the community, especially in a time of divisiveness on social media and all that stuff. It's good to bring people together and do music.
I've been there several times. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm put on the Run by the Creek 5K and 10K, and the last 7 years, we always have somebody from the local community come and sing our national anthem. And the last 7 years, we've had Cammie Cunningham, Jillian Hudson, and Lindley Pope, and they all came out of Hudson's on Mercer.
Oh, yeah. There's so much talent that goes in and out through there. That venue is very, very awesome. It's nice, and there's a lot going on there. I don't know. I was trying to rack my brain on when I was getting over here as far as the music community. They should be a page where there's different venues, different artists, different bands and events. I know that Dreamland has a venue, and they do some stuff over there. I know that what's that bar? It's called Last Chance now.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
that one's changed. That one's been around forever.
Yeah, they kind of turned it around, cleaned it up a little bit. They
12 Fox has their own little.
12 Fox. Shout out to Joe
I
at
love
12 Fox.
Joe. Joe and Stacy.
Joe and Stacy Hogue. They're doing the music. They do picker circles on Thursday night, so that's really good for the community as well. Our band FM Rodeo performed there, and that's the one I did.
That's the name of your band, FM Rodeo?
That is the name of one of my bands.
You got multiple bands.
Yeah. Well, we've released a single in November, and it's more of a traditional punk rock song, so it's not for everybody. And but it's very energetic. It's very fun. We're actually releasing our second single February 15th, which is coming up. It's a little bit more of an alternative rock, catchy pop tune. And
Delta Dawn, what's that sound?
It's exactly like that. But
I always imagined you more of like Metallica.
Yeah, well, no, it's I played with a lot of different bands, blues bands, country bands, and my passion is rock, but it's a little bit more like alt rock, more like Nirvana, Green Day, kind of 90s style. If
you had one song that played every time you walked into a room, what would that be? Every single time you walked anywhere, you walked into a room, what would that?
Back in Black.
Right, okay.
Oh, that's a good one.
Shout out to
you can't go wrong
Barton
with
Creek
that.
AC.
Right, the iconic AC/DC.
If you saw his logo, you'd know why.
Mine would be It's a Long Way to the Top, if you want to rock and roll. AC/DC.
AC/DC. They're so iconic. I mean, it's funny because we, and I know we're supposed to talk about music. We kind of keep shifting back to the air conditioning.
We can talk about anything.
But it's all about marketing, right? So early on, I did when I did music, I'd do flyers. I'd print off flyers in San Marcos, and it's super old school. But what I would do is I'd go to Microsoft Paint. I don't know if y'all ever remember that, but that was like my Adobe Photoshop, because I was a poor college student. Anyway, so I'd get logos and all this and that, and I'd download fonts, and I'd make these elaborate flyers and print them out and hand them out to people at the colleges and stuff like that. And I really liked doing that. And so whenever I started a lawn care business in Midland, I would do the same thing, market it, make flyers, and kind of just make it stand out. A lot of people don't really care for marketing, which is insane. But whenever me and Eddie started the business, I kind of did the same thing. And one time I was doing a stencil for our ladders and some of our equipment so I could spray paint real quick. And I was like...
How did it go?
You know.
Sounds just like spray paint to me.
It depends on what part of the hood you're from.
There you go.
So I was tagging up all of our stuff, but I was making stencils, and I was thinking, you know what'd be cool is to make a font. And I was thinking, what's our acronym? I'm all about acronyms too, like a short, abbreviated... like DSE or
like ADHD.
Boom. Touche. Anyway, so I did the Barton Creek, and I downloaded the font. But it's AC/DC's font. It's called Squealer, and it just worked out BCAC. and with a lightning bolt in the middle of it, and it's just so perfect. If it was a W or anything else, it just wouldn't look the same. So anyway,
it's a great logo. I love that.
Yeah,
logo.
and it's on our unofficial logo because
You're very forward thinking, Johnny, for someone as young as you are, and
well, thank you.
That's what drew me to you. I have a really important question because I want to ask you about where you grew up, and I wanted to ask if you could get rid of one Texas city, which one would it be, and why would it be Midland?
Well,
isn't that where you grew up?
I was born in Midland.
Yeah.
And it's a great place to be from, is what they say, what we say. Honestly, if I was to get rid of one place, it would actually be Midland's twin sister, Odessa. I kid, of course. There's subtle beauties about West Texas that you appreciate, especially after you leave and only have to come back for family gatherings. And
it's the smells that I think are
H2S
lingering.
gas.
It's just
it's a smell of money.
That's my grandfather used to say that because we had Hereford.
So
Hereford,
money smells like ass.
Or cows.
Cash ass. Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a lot of oil and oil out there. I think the subtle beauties of it is, and this is not answering your question at all, but I remember going out there for Christmas, and it was really crisp and cold outside, and it was like so far from any major cities, and I was looking up at the sky, and you could just see, oh my God, the whole entire galaxy was just so lit up and beautiful.
That's the one nice thing about being out there away from everything. Yeah.
Dark skies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
I kid, of course. I kid. I'm native. I'm a Texan. I'm a
shout out to all
girl.
my friends in Midland if you're still around. If you still claim me as a friend. I do miss it. The people there are so genuine and really good folks. There's just a lack of things to do. There's no rivers, there's no tubing. You could ride a pump jack, and you can drink, and you can pick fights, and barbecue.
It's kind of a lot like the way Dripping Springs used to be.
Used to be, there wasn't anything to do.
When a
here.
creek dried up, you'd.
So you don't live in Dripping; you actually live out in Blanco, but your business is here.
Exactly. So whenever it came time to purchase a home, Hays County taxes were just not really my cup of tea, and so I looked elsewhere. And Blanco wasn't that far away, and I found a beautiful home that's got 3 acres. And I need privacy plus a little bit of space. I have the company van. I got a motorcycle. I got trailers.
We want to talk about motorcycles later. I want to talk to you about that.
I love them.
So how did you get into the air conditioning business?
So let's see. When I grew up in Midland, my neighbors down the street, their dad, my best friend's dad was Eddie Quine, and he had an air conditioning business in Midland. And I never thought anything about it back then, of course. And I moved away from Midland, grew up with my friends. But when I came back, I left. I kind of took a break from college, and I came back to West Texas to work in the oil field. And oil field kind of took a big hit. And I was waiting tables, and I ended up staying with one of Eddie's sons as a roommate and renting out a bedroom. And he said, hey, we need some help, moving a furnace or something or another. And I was like, yeah, sure, I need money, and I hate waiting tables. And so I kind of started off as a helper, and I really liked it. I really enjoyed working in the oil field because of the money. But there's also a lot of mechanical stuff that you could do in there that it wasn't like fetching tea for grumpy rednecks at Texas Roadhouse. It was like really substantial. It just felt
those
good.
Biscuits or those rolls, those honey rolls. I mean, I don't know how you could walk away from a job like that. Those Texas Roadhouse
there's
rolls.
so many calories in those things.
Delicious.
So I was waiting tables, and I kind of landed backwards into the air conditioning thing with them, and then. I took college courses at ACC, and I got so close to getting, I don't know how close I really was, but I was taking business classes, and I just kind of got in a little bit of trouble and backed out and kind of dropped it.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Really? You? Oh my gosh.
This is news to me.
News headline.
Whenever I was working for Eddie for his company in Midland, I started going to Midland College. I just wanted to take a couple of AC air conditioning classes. And I took all the courses, and then I went to talk to the counselor about getting a certificate. And she said, well, hold on. And she pulled up all my credits from ACC. She said, all you got to do is take 3 classes, and you can have your associate's degree. I was like, what? I thought I was done with it, but I took AutoCAD, OSHA, and something else, and boom, graduated with honors at Midland College with a applied science, an HVAC background.
Good for you.
Awesome. Good for you, man.
Hit the trade school.
Never needed
route.
it,
Yeah.
but it was cool. It did definitely boost your confidence,
So what do you have to be like a journeyman or something to start an air conditioning company?
So for air conditioning in Texas, it's not like plumbing or electricians. It's pretty laid back for the most part. If you work for a company as a helper or technician, you're supposed to apply with the state and pay the $20 and get your what we call the shop sweeper license.
Yeah.
And but basically they have you on file, and if you want to get your contractor's license, you have to work for a company, a legitimate company, for 4 years out of the past 6 years, and that contractor has to sign off on your hours. And then you have to take a test, which is pretty difficult to take and study up on. And boom, you can get your contractor's license with the state of Texas. And so it's not like a journeyman or anything like that for the other trades, which I couldn't tell you why or why not. Maybe liabilities or, I don't know.
We talked about this a little bit about Snowmageddon in one of our earlier podcasts, but doing what you do, and you kind of you've saved our butts a couple of times, our family's butts a bunch of times. But if we get what they are, some experts are predicting another Snowmageddon this year, what do you think homeowners can do right now to either check up on older units or prepare them for what could happen?
Really good question. I think for the most part, just if the biggest problem that we had last year was people ran out of propane and or the electricity grid went down. And on all honesty, that has nothing to do with there's nothing that we could do about either one of those things. There are systems that are older. And there's three different types of heat. There's natural gas, which is a very, very limited source here in Dripping Springs. The second one would be propane, which, is kind of popular. The main one that we have is electric heat with heat pumps. To check your units, call a local company and do a rundown on your units. Also change your filters. You'd be surprised how many people.
Crazy.
I'm not surprised. I stage.
Right.
I'm not surprised.
Exactly.
I look at filters and then I know what I'm in for the rest of the house.
Absolutely. Filters is the biggest thing that you can do that's proactive rather than reactive.
How often?
I tell people if it's a 1-inch filter every 30 days or when you get your electricity bill, but it also kind of depends on how much you run your system.
Does it matter like the bougier, the better, or can you just get just a clean one? In
my opinion, don't ever get the fiberglass ones where you can hold them up and see through them, but get the pleated ones. Get the cheapest pleated ones you can get. The ones that are allergen, this and that, they can give you really, really tight and restrictive and cut your air circulation off to your unit.
I've always thought that, yeah. Mm-hmm. The ones that are like about $10 a piece seem to be the ones that give you the best bang for the buck.
Exactly. You rub your hand on it, it feels like wax.
Yeah.
Not really a big fan of that. Plus, they're very expensive. If you change them out often, other than that, get a couple space heaters and,
Well, that doesn't help if the electricity goes out.
It doesn't, but neither does central heating.
What about protecting that outside unit, though? If it's, should we not... if you have shrubs around it or the snow, the snow was so accumulated around it.
So the thing to know about heat pumps is that whenever it gets about 25 degrees, they lose almost all of their efficiency. And so what you need to do is if you have a heat pump, turn on your emergency heat on your thermostat.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I have a heat pump.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're not ever, the auxiliary heat will kick on automatically, and so a lot of people don't notice. But that outdoor unit's going to be running. There's those periods where I don't think it got above freezing for days, if I'm not mistaken.
It was like 3 days.
I remember whenever I was answering the phone, and I couldn't leave my house. I couldn't get down my driveway. But I was told everyone, you got a heat pump? Yep. Turn on your emergency heat. And as soon as it, thaws out, we'll run by if we have to. A lot of people wanted to do checkups after that, and we had to fix a couple that were broken.
You guys all the contractors we knew were scrambling for weeks after that. I'm sure you guys
It was pretty hectic. It was, and then not only that, but you just kind of like laid around the house for a week, and your brain couldn't think properly about work. I had so many notes about all these people, and I had to prioritize them, and I was just overwhelmed,
I think it also kind of pulls us into what we're going through right now is all these supply chain issues and how busy you guys were. And so what are you seeing in your business, things that you're not able to get? And
that's a good point. So we do a little bit of new construction, what I call whenever there's a general contractor building a new home, which is happening a lot here in Dripping Springs. We've had a couple of them just recently won a bid, and whenever we do a system, we do the equipment, we do the ductwork. And in ductwork, there's this stuff called flex duct, and it's that stuff. It looks like giant silver worms in your attic. It's excellent stuff, but there's a huge shortage of it. And just as a matter of fact, yesterday I had a contractor wanting to get a bid, and I called our distributor. He said they're 4 to 6 weeks out at least.
Wow.
on the ductwork. Where's
absolutely.
that stuff come from?
I could
China.
not.
Probably China.
I couldn't tell you. They probably have different manufacturers. So it's silver lining, and it's kind of like a slinky with the silver lining. That's not. It's like a plastic lining with a slinky, and then there's fiberglass that's wrapped around it, and then the silver outside. I'm not sure exactly where it's manufactured, but I mean. I always tell people this. In Austin area, since there's so much growth, it's one of the largest growing cities in probably in America, that the shortages affect us really like double hard, because if you can imagine, maybe there's not as much growth in Detroit or Little Rock, Arkansas, that, they have shortages.
Or Midland, Texas.
Or Midland, Texas. Well, Midland jumps up and down. It's really wild because
I'm just picking on Midland.
If we have just enough duct to do a job, it just flies off the shelf so quickly because there's so many contractors building that it kind of hits us double hard. So, but going back to the point, a lot of this stuff is 4 to 6 weeks out. I've talked to a general contractor last month, and he said that he's doing a house and he's trying to get it ready for turnkey, and they can't get a garage door, overhead doors for 12, 13,
That's what
15
I've heard.
months.
Yeah.
15
So you can't finish the
months.
house.
Right, you can't finish
And
the
just
house.
think about how many different components there are in a brand new home, and they all have these kind of issues.
Doors, windows, garage doors, insulation.
Yeah, hinges,
Right,
faucets, light
exactly.
fixtures. Yeah, it goes on and on.
And so it's been real wild. I mean, and in here, not to be the bearer of bad news or anything, but I talked to my distributor. I said, hey, hit me straight. Last year was kind of a struggle. We lost about 5 or 6 jobs because the equipment that we're going to provide a bid on, we couldn't get for up to 60 days. And so they kind of kept calling. Some of these bigger companies out there may have some back stock and can get the job. The job. So until they're out, it's sort of like the playing field is very uneven. And
So it sounds to me like the people that have it are probably going to charge more than they charge a premium.
Well, certainly, I mean, a supply and demand, I'm sure. But also, one other interesting thing, especially since the beginning of the pandemic, is usually we would have one price increase about every 15 months. I believe we've had 5 in the last 18 months.
Wow.
Is that across the board, like on all kinds of
That
things?
is for our distributor, which is all throughout Texas, and most other distributors, because we deal with Carrier as a brand. Goodman and I'm trying not to name any distributors' names, but we could do brand names. Linux, Train, American Standard. They've had a lot of price increases too. So I would say yes, it is across the board.
Wow.
So yes, price increases for everybody. And then of course, if they have it in stock and it's a very rare commodity, they're probably going to be
charge a premium.
Right, charge a premium. And I asked our distributor, I said, hey, what's it look like this year? Is there any kind of good news? He said, I think it's going to be similar to last year, and then next year might be better.
So before we went on air, you were talking that somebody had stolen some stuff at y'all's.
Yeah, absolutely. So
in addition to you dealing
That's
with
almost downtown Dripping Springs.
In addition to you dealing with supply chain issues and not being able to get parts and just being so busy, now people are freaking stealing.
Yeah, and we know that crime rate is rising across the board everywhere. But yeah, here in our little community, it's.
You think it's because accessibility? You're right off 290.
I think so. Yeah, it has a lot to do with it. And this isn't necessarily a brand new thing. I've got some friends who are contractors that have scrap, and what was stolen from us was scrap materials.
So what exactly does that mean? The scrap material
So whenever we change out a system, we take your old systems, we bring them to the office, and at some point we recover all the refrigerant. We break the units down, we pile them up into copper, tin, metal compressors, and then we take them to the scrap yard, and we get cash out.
So are they taking it to do that themselves, to get the copper and to strip it? Because I remember when we first moved in, there was a rash of people stealing brand new refrigerators, and I guess that's probably the copper.
Exactly. Okay. It's a little bit harder now because you're supposed to have a contractor's license to be able to scrap air conditioning equipment. I think that there's so many licenses out there and so many people that are maybe corrupt.
That was one of the things I was going to ask you. Because there's so much demand right now for contractors kind of across the board, are you seeing a lot more flaky people get into the business?
Absolutely. And you know what? It is a funny thing that you mentioned it. There's a Dateline episode. HVAC is the easiest field to rip people off.
Really?
Absolutely. It's extremely easy to dupe people, to upsell them on anything. And
because most people don't understand how it works.
Absolutely. Yeah. Most people don't understand, and they just want to be comfortable too, especially in Texas.
It's what I've always appreciated about you and Eddie is that personally we've used you and for our clients is that you guys have always just been upfront and honest and like, hey, we can do this and it's going to last you, and I can probably baby it and get another year out of it, or you can do this and you're going to have a new unit. So
Well, and I think it's important for us to present options, but also to kind of shoot it straight. Hey, look, this is going to probably not last another 2 years. I probably myself wouldn't invest money into this if I were you. If you're on an extremely tight budget, yeah. But it's also kind of like what they say, CYA.
Yeah.
If we do the repair and then they say, hey, you were just here 3 months ago. Well, we told you.
You know what, though? The thing I'm taking away from that is right now to use somebody that's been around like you guys. Don't just call the Yellow Pages or whatever and pick out AC company. Call somebody that's reputable that you can rely on.
Right, absolutely. I think when people often ask us, hey, do you service Pflugerville or North Austin? And I ask them, what do you mean, South Dallas? With traffic, it takes us forever to get up there, so it wouldn't be fair to do.
You have a lot of business here locally.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're very, very much, our demographics right here in this trajectory of Dripping Springs, but. When I tell people, my family in Indiana or anywhere else, try to get up on the Google and find a local. Get up on the Google. Get on the Google. Find you a contractor that's local, that's kind of small, that you can communicate with. If it's a big box company, they have such a big overhead for all their secretaries and shop sweepers and whoever else.
Michelle's of the world.
All those, it adds up.
Yes, they. Somebody that has a good rating, that's small enough that you can open up communication with, that has been around for a while. I think one good thing about Barton Creek Air Conditioning is that Eddie's been in business for quite a while, and he's really taught me quite a bit. Shoot it straight. I think there's things out there that if you don't make the right decision, it's hard to sleep at night. And,
Steve and I talk about that often. We often wonder.
We think we could be millionaires, if not billionaires.
But I like to sleep at night.
But I do like to sleep at night.
I know, absolutely. Well, and then too, it's just sort of like I said, CYA. It's you have to disclose all the information to somebody about everything. And as awkward of a conversation is, or, they might get mad or anything like that, that's the cost of doing business. And you have to have confidence in what you're doing. and express.
100% agree.
I have a question for you as far as like with new technology and stuff. Like, what are your thoughts on these new integrated Nest or whatever fill in the blank name brand, like where you can talk to it on your cell phone?
Communicating thermostats.
There you go, communicating thermostats.
So they're very cool. They're lovely. They're not for everybody. I mean, we got the 86-year-old client who
I like the little dial. Like if it says that's what I like.
Yeah, old mercury bulbs.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I just replaced one of those the other day. The cool thing about it is with the communicating thermostats is if you guys are going to Puerto Rico for a week and it's July 4th and you had your AC down to 68 for some reason and you left, you're on the airplane about to take off and you're like, oh shoot, I forgot to turn the thermostat up. You can get on your phone and you can dial that thing up to 78 to where it's going to keep the cool in the house, condition it, but you're not going to have a $300 extra.
But are you having more,
bill.
or do you see that you have more, technical issues with those?
Mostly, yeah.
Or user error?
User error, mostly.
Okay.
I need to figure out how I can stop mine from turning the heat on to 76 as I walk out the door to go to work every day. It's like, why does it think I need to heat up the house?
Well, the upside with it all, as long as the grid is intact, you can get on your phone and find the user manual on these things. And also a lot of the places, a lot of the manufacturers of these, so like Nest has been bought by Google. And so,
interesting.
Good luck calling their tech support, but they do have a tech support, and they know English for the most part, and you can talk to them and they'll walk you through it if you have the patience. Otherwise, you can call a contractor and maybe they could walk you through it and help you out. And
Johnny will make house calls.
Yeah, we can go out there.
Yeah, you have to. That's where the air conditionings are. What do you love about being in this business?
A couple of things. First and foremost, probably the money.
Pays the bills.
It does pay the bills. I've been a working musician for a while, and it's like, well, I need something to fall back on. And I really do, kid. I do love a couple of things about this business. There's a lot of gratitude involved in helping somebody who's very uncomfortable. There's some people who really have health issues that really need to have the temperature set, and there's air quality control that helps out with folks. And whenever I unlock a puzzle, whenever I service something, or whenever I figure out what is wrong with something that's a little difficult to do it, it's just that too is very gratifying for me. To help somebody, to give somebody options and shoot straight with them. And if, hey, look, this repair is going to be a better option,
I'll tell you what, when the last time our air conditioning broke, it was the middle of summer, and we had one night where the house got up to like 86, and you came the next day, and it was like, oh, Johnny's here. honey, Johnny's here.
We're
like
definitely
the savior.
We're definitely heroes and rock stars in a lot of those senses whenever people need, dire service calls. The other thing that I really love about it, and that's how I met you guys, was for the business portion, doing the networking, going to the Chamber of Commerce luncheons, being able to, do public speaking, to meet people.
You're really shy, so you have to really put yourself out into this.
I love it all. I mean, I've been playing music for a long time, so I've been performing in front of people. But it's a lot different speaking in front of people and providing a presentation and basically sell yourself to something that you believe in.
I've seen you at the Chamber a couple of times. You do a really good job.
I do enjoy it. And like I said, you meet a lot of really good people. I mean, this Dripping Springs, whenever we first moved here, we moved to Kyle, and I joined the Kyle Dripping Chamber of Commerce, and I went to a couple of their luncheons, and it just wasn't, to me, in my opinion, wasn't the same as the Dripping Springs luncheons. And, the community wasn't quite the same either. The community here was just, you have a foundation where there's people who are genuine and, they kind of really care about the community. It's not just fast-paced, blow and go. It might be evolving a little bit, but there's still going to, I feel like, always be that backbone where there's people.
I think you're right.
That's what keeps all of us here, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you meet these folks, and, you especially as time goes, you just kind of strengthen those bonds. That's probably one of the things I do love the most about doing what I do and then being involved.
Well, you're kind of infamous in this town anyways. Johnny. All I have to do is say Johnny and people are like,
Did you see the picture he posted on Facebook this morning from prom?
Oh, I did. And
I was like, he's posting a picture. Who is this kid he's posting this picture of? He looks like he's 12 years old. It was him at prom.
He looks still like he's 12 years old.
Well,
and somebody,
that's true. With a
one of the
beard.
comments said, I'm not going to get this wrong. but it said, someone please send me all Baby Johnny pictures. And I was like, I want to be a part of Baby Johnny pictures.
Well, that is funny. I've looked young for a long time. That picture wasn't my prom. It was somebody's prom. I think I was 28. I am kidding.
Yeah, you look 11.
I did for a long time. I think that growing out some facial hair, and actually, some of the business and COVID, I got a couple of gray hairs in the beard.
Look at that little baby face. I just pulled it up on the screen.
Yeah, no, I think I was actually 18 then. I did look 12.
Are you dressed like, is that Stryker? What was the name of that? Quiet Riot? Are you dressed like Quiet Riot?
I wish.
Like, what are you wearing?
This is this is a race car themed limousine that my high school sweetheart and her friends had rented. I think that's the last one.
I think those are your pants. I want to see the rest of the outfit. Your
wish.
Black and white checkered pants.
Like that Chuck Taylor basketball shoes.
I don't know what that is. But yeah, somebody said something about they want to see all the Baby Johnny pictures, and I'm here for that. So please, if you have Baby Johnny pictures,
there's
there you
the throwback. This is when was that?
Are you on the drums there?
That's me on the drums.
Holy cow!
Growing my hair out.
Have you always been afraid of the scissors? Is this been something that's been? I'm requesting any and all photos of Baby Johnny. So send them Mallett and Michelle at gmail.com, please.
Yes, please. I want to know, what was your greatest musical moment?
Okay, well, I would say greatest musical moment. It's hard to say. I'll tell you one of my favorite, or what I consider one of my most successful. I was playing a gig. I was playing with this guy named Mark Bino. He's a blues legend. He lives in Hunt, Texas, and this is when I was living in Kerrville.
Yeah.
And he taught me how to play a real proper Texas blues shuffle. And that I could go on a whole episode on that.
Yeah.
He's an old school cat. He recorded with the Doors and Eric Clapton, and he was a band leader for Rita Coolidge. Wow. And he has a Grammy for writing a song for Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack.
Jeez.
Shout out to Mark Bino. Thank you for the blues shuffle lesson. Anyway, he had a gig for us. It was in, we're out of Kerrville, but he had a gig in Wimberley for a lady who was a friend of his. And oh my goodness, the amount of money that they paid us to play at this gig I think it was on Halloween night. They put us up in a hotel. They gave us dining, and they paid us so much money. And there's already a drum set. All I had to do was show up with my drumsticks, play some shuffles for 45 minutes, and it was like, wow, this is LIVIN living. This is cool.
And that's what you wanted to do the rest of your life.
I wanted to do music since probably when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
That was considerably later when I was already in the HVAC field and everything. But it was good to have what you would consider some kind of successful gig. I've played so many gigs, and I still do now. Play so many gigs for it usually costs me money because when you do all original music, you want to just get it out there to people, and venues are kind of uncertain.
I think it is true what they say, though, because I know a lot of drummers, and I think that the drummers are always the nicest guy in the band.
Who writes the music, the original music?
So FM Rodeo, my buddy Troy, he's actually he's the guy right there in that picture.
Oh, yeah.
We go back since high school. We both moved to Kerrville in the year 2000, and he taught me how to play bass guitar. And he grew up loving Nirvana and Green Day and all these 90s bands, and he started writing songs. Well, he's what they call a good melody writer. He writes good, catchy songs. Mm-hmm. The lyrical content is good. It's not super cheesy or anything like that. So a lot of his songs are real catchy, and he writes all of the songs that we perform and sing, the ones that we perform. And I was going to say, I have the schedule up right here. We're playing at a Grey Horse in San Marcos. It's a little venue on Ranch Road 12. I think it might have used to be a country venue, but they kind of opened the doors for all types of music on February 6th with our friends Thunder Rosa. We're playing a showcase for our single release in Austin at Valhalla, which is off of 6th and Red River.
Oh, yeah.
Dare Dywell in Fredericksburg's a delight. It's a tiny little death metal band in Fredericksburg right there in the tourist trap.
Oh, yeah.
With Thunder Rosa again, and Fitzgerald's in San Antonio. It's a really cool venue as well with this band called Eden Burning. And I hope you don't mind me plugging these shows.
No, absolutely. We love that.
I think people are going to want to reach out and see where they can,
absolutely.
check you guys out.
You can check you out on
Instagram is a really good one. Spotify.
What's your handle on Instagram?
It's FM Rodeo Texas. There's an FM Rodeo in Wisconsin. We came up with the band name first, just FYI.
You just didn't get
and
the
it's
Instagram
not country
name first.
because I thought it was country.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
most
not.
people do. It's sort of a cheeky kind of a nod to my country days. Like, hey, we're from Texas. But it's also, if grunge rock was in Texas, what would it be like? And so we call it
And it had
FM
a prom
Rodeo.
night baby. That would be Johnny Elrod.
A prom night baby with the Foo Fighters.
Well, Johnny, man, this has been really fun. I'm looking forward to come out and hearing you guys one time at Hudson's next time you play.
Yeah.
They don't
I can walk across the street.
But they don't play at 3 p.m., Steve. So they play it.
That's true.
Yeah,
I
so-
know.
You guys need to start at 5:30.
We'll do the early show, the happy hour show.
I'll join all the other grandmas and grandpas there and listen.
Yeah, you could follow us on Instagram or Facebook. We are always posting all of our shows, and sometimes we'll do the happy hour gig over at 12 Fox, which is always a delight. Usually it's on Thursdays, and if Hudson's will have us back again, we'll
I bet
post
they
up on
will,
that.
especially now since we mentioned them like 12
Absolutely.
I
And
know.
We need to get the Hudsons on here too.
times. Yeah.
Right.
And if you ever have a air conditioning emergency, Johnny's the guy to call.
Yeah, call Barton Creek Air Conditioning, 214-1300.
There you go.
214-1300.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Johnny.
Johnny. This was really fun.
I appreciate
we really
you guys.
appreciate you coming in.
Absolutely.
All right. See
Till
ya.
next time.
This show is brought to you in part by the Mallett Integrity Team, serving Dripping Springs, Austin, and the surrounding areas of Central Texas since 2004. When you need the best real estate advice and service, give them a call at 512-829-2062 or email them at mallettintegrityteam.com.
Thanks for listening.
If you have comments or feedback, please email us at mallettandmichelle@gmail.com.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Mallett and Michelle.
Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher.
Please follow us and leave a review.
Thanks again for listening.